Okay, one moment, please. Welcome to the final review of Art of the Living Dead 2. Alright? I'm trying to get this. Okay. And we are looking at the 1994 Italian horror comedy, The Cemetery Man, or Dellamorte Dellamore. This is a weird one. This is a weird one. It tells the story of a cemetery keeper named Francesco Dellamore, who nightly kills people that come back from the dead, zombies, or as they're called in this movie, returners. And then leads to an affair with a woman, and then stuff goes down, and there's murders, and it's hard to, this is hard to sum up. This movie is hard to sum up, because it's a weird movie. Now, I'd seen this once before off YouTube. This movie is very hard to find. There is no physical media release in North America that I know of. Maybe there's like an old DVD, but you're paying up to yin yang, you're paying up to yin yang for it. You know, a lot of money for it. I looked on eBay for Blu-rays, and you can get region-free ones for like $35, like that. But, it's free on YouTube. It is pitched up a bit, and the words are reversed. A lot of them are in Italian and English, doesn't really matter. The sound quality is also a little bit off, but it looks good. It's like HD quality, so it looks good. But, Rupert Everett stars as Francesco Dellamorte. You may know him from My Best Friend's Wedding, or Claw in the Inspector Gadget live action film. And he's really good in this. So Francesco, or Dellamorte lives in the cemetery with his assistant Nyagi. And basically, they start right away with, he's on the phone with his friend Franco, and then he hears a noise. He turns around. There's a zombie there. He shoots it. That right well tells you all you need to know. Zombies come back to life. He shoots them, and yeah, that's what it is. Dead people die, and then they come back to life, and there's never any explanation as to why. And while it does take up a good part of the film, I feel like it's not the main plot. It's not the main plot of the film. It's just, it's there. It happens. It helps tell the story, further the story of the film, I should say, but it's not the main story of the film. One day, Dellamorte is overseeing a funeral where he sees the woman. Not only is she played by Anna Falchi, and she's only known as she. He instantly falls for her, and then the next day when she goes to visit her husband's grave, he's trying to talk to her, and he's trying to hit on her basically, and she's just not having it until he wants to show her that the ossuary, or whatever it's called, it's like, I don't know, it's underground tunnel where there's a bunch of dead bodies in it. I don't know. But they get in there and she gets turned on, and so they start to make out, but then skeletons attack her and she leaves. Then she shows up later that night and they do it. They have sex. In fact, they proceed to fuck right on the dead husband's grave, and it's one of those things where she was young and he's an older gentleman. You think, it's one married for money thing, but she seems to have really cared for him, and she wants to do it on or by the grave because she'd never hid anything from her husband. So yeah, and so they're going at it. Although there is a rumor spread around by the neighborhood teenagers that he is impotent, but that's obviously not true. But they're going at it when by the way, she's a very gorgeous woman. This woman. Gorgeous. Nice headlights. Anyway, the husband comes back from the dead, which you think Dellamorte would know that, but man, beyond me. Comes back from the dead, and he bites her, which supposedly kills her. She dies almost right away, although it is reported by the inspector who keeps showing up to talk to him about murders that happened throughout the film, that she had a heart attack that was brought on from when she was having sex with someone, which he doesn't believe is Dellamorte because he's supposedly impotent. And that's a running gag, is that some people die, and we know that Dellamorte did it, but then when he comes to question Dellamorte, he's like, oh, I don't think it's you, I think it's so-and-so, I think it's this, the whole thing, and it's a running gag throughout the film. And let me tell you, as this movie goes, the further in the movie you get, the more weird this movie becomes. So, he has her laying on the table, she's still naked, and he's just waiting for her to come back. She sits up, and he shoots her in the head, right? So, then, they go into town, and, they meet with the mayor and the mayor's daughter, who is 14 years old, but Nagi, a grown-ass man, is hitting on her, which is not right, but this is Italy, so I have no idea what the customs are over there. I just, over here it's Yui. But he pukes all over her, and then she's like, her boyfriend shows up, and he's like, what's going on? He puked on me. And then they get on the motorcycle and take off. And then they get in an accident where he is killed, and she gets decapitated. The motorcyclist guy's other girlfriend shows up, not wanting to leave. Apparently she knows that they come back from the dead. He comes back from the dead with his motorcycle, which is weird. I don't know. It's weird. And then he ends up shooting them both, and then buries them both in the graveyard. Again, the inspector comes and the mayor then decides he wants to take a picture of his daughter's corpse. Oh, I should mention, Nagi digs up the corpse and takes the head off. And she's a reanimated head, and they're just gonna be together. The mayor then comes looking for the corpse to take a picture of it for his re-election campaign for some reason, and it's not there, and it just leads him into the building where he finds Nagi with the head. And the severed head of the daughter says that she and Nagi want to marry, which then the mayor unfortunately says, over my dead body. Daughter says, okay, and then the head leaps out and kills him. And then Dellamorte comes in and shoots the severed head of the daughter, which Nagi does not care for. He's mad, but he had to do it. Tried to kill someone, you know. There's also a time where he fights zombie Boy Scouts, which kind of seems very Evil Dead. He then has a dream where he goes to town and kills the punks that called him impotent. The next day, it turns out they're actually dead, and the inspector thinks Nagi did it. But he says only he can drive. He's given him proof that it was him that did it. He's like, only I can drive that thing. Well, we don't think it's you. We think it's Nagi. It's like, but he just said. The new mayor shows up, and he's got a new assistant, which looks exactly like she. Yep, it's Anna Fauci plays 3 different roles in this movie, and this is her second appearance. And right away, they have an attraction to each other, but she is scared of the penis. She's scared of it. She's scared of a hard one. When it's erect. So he decides to go and get hit. How did kind I put it? Oh yeah, choppy the pee. He decides to go choppy the pee, but the doctor can't do it, so he injects this thing in there that makes him actually impotent for 30 days. And so he can finally be with her, only to find out that the new mayor sexually assaulted her, but she liked it, and now she's cured, and she's gonna marry the new mayor. What? Wait, what? 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 That's not how that works. But it's a weird movie. It's a weird movie, and we're not done with the weirdness. At one point, I think it's before this, the Grim Reaper himself shows up, telling Dellamorte to stop killing dead people, and instead kill living people and shoot them in the head so they don't come back. And that's before the whole thing in town. But yes, we're not done with the weirdness. Not by a long shot. So he gives a ride to these two women, one of which these two women, their car breaks down and they need a ride in town. One of which looks just like she, of course, and so he gives a ride to town, and he is seduced by the new she to come up and have sex with her. Turns out she's a prostitute, and after paying, he sets the house on fire, killing all the women inside. And the next day, the inspector shows up with evidence to check, and he's like, let me guess, you want to know what I was last night at 1 p.m.? I know, and he holds up the burnt check, and he's like, but don't worry, you're off the hook. What? Yes. Oh, by the way, for taking place in Italy, they have pretty British accents. Very, very British accents. So, apparently, his friend Franco admitted to the murders, and he apparently set those prostitutes on fire and then killed his wife and child and then tried to commit suicide. But he doesn't know it's Franco yet, so he demands to go see the killer, which he's able to find the room without knowing who it is. He gets in there, he sees that it's Franco, and he sits there and he asks, why? Why? Well, so killing a nun, a doctor, and a nurse at one point. And then his friend Franco says, I don't know you. I don't know who you are. Go away. Confused, as is the audience at this point, he and Nagi decide to take off. Finally leave this little town and get away, right? But then, probably the weirdest part of the movie happens. As they're driving, he's forced to stop, causing Nagi to sustain a head injury. And, because there's no more road. It's a big chasm in front of him. It revealed that this place, there's no outside world. It's only this small little town. Yeah. So, seeing that there's nowhere else to go, he loads up the gun with 2 bullets and goes to shoot Nagi, but he can't bring himself to do it. Nagi wakes up. He's not dead. He wakes up, he throws the gun into the chasm, and then speaks for the first time. You see Nagi throughout the film go and go, nah, nah. That's it. He now speaks. He says, take me home right now. To which Dellamorte replies, nah. So they've now switched roles. And that's where the movie ends. During this, it starts to snow. Did you notice? I noticed that. I'm like, why is it snowing? And then it's revealed they're in a snow globe at the end. It's really weird, but you know what? I had a good time with this movie. Man, I can't go all the way to the moon with this, but it's enjoyable, and I'm probably going to rewatch it. Just know, the version on YouTube says it's 2 hours and 36 minutes. It's not that long. It's only about an hour and 36 minutes. It just repeats. At some point after the credits, it cuts to the part where they're in their ossuary making out again, and I think it plays. I don't think it goes for the entire rest of the film, but it plays out somewhat from then. I don't watch where it goes from then, but yeah. I think there's great acting, and unlike some Italian films where you watch English versions and it seems it was probably dubbed, but it's not overly obvious that it's dubbed. Maybe it's because of the high pitchiness of it, but it works. It works. It does work, and it's a great last review for March of the Living Dead 2. I would say that when it comes to Cemetery Man, or Dellamorte Dellamore, which means of love, of death, of love and of death, I think it's I would say it's pretty good. Weird movie, but still pretty good. There's some good acting, a lot of weird stuff in there. Nagi's pretty funny. You may have to excuse some of the stuff in here. It's Italian. It's 1994. It's Italy. They don't, it's not everything is going to, cause, yeah. But, and it's not, very easy to find. That's why I say, watch it on YouTube. It's a little pitched up and it's reversed, but it's not overly pitched to where it's very noticeable. You can still kind of watch it. I knew it. I knew that wasn't how Rupert Everett sounded, because I know he has a deeper voice, but it works. It works. It works for watching it. So, yeah. Actually, I'm doing the ranking, and I'll talk about what I plan for next year, hopefully. But, thank you for watching. What are your thoughts on Cemetery Man, aka Dellamorte Dellamore? Leave no comments, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one. Excuse me.